I do like treats. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like treats make everything better.
They do.
I'll tell you what else makes everything better, Wiggy.
What's that?
Steph Diggs in the building yesterday.
All right, I saw it. I like it.
In Foxborough.
Oh, not everybody's happy about this one, though.
Well, who's not happy about
Christopher Scheim.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm more, and this will be my lead this morning. You thought I was mad yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, you gonna crash out today or what?
Yo, you should have seen him on X yesterday. The
I'm
guy
ready.
was just
Wow.
tweeting left and right. I had to mute him.
You know,
Because
when
it was negative.
when frauds are
I wish I
afoot, Greg,
could
you got to
between-
call them out.
Courtney, I wish I could mute him from 6 to 10. Am I right?
All right.
Do you want to save it for your lead then? Is that what?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm gonna just crash out on my lead, and it'll be fun.
Okay. Well, I, for one, provided that there's a physical and that everything seems to be A-okay, I would love to add Stefon Diggs to this roster. I don't know what the negative is.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that.
We'll find out, I guess, what Scheim's negative is, but
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I mean, because at this point in time, you're looking for any good receivers that can obviously make the room better. Is Stefon Diggs the same guy that we saw in Buffalo? Probably not, but he's like when we talked about Cooper Kupp and we talk about some of these other guys, he would be instantly the best player in that room. And it's obviously about helping out Drake May. That's the biggest thing. What are you doing here when you got this young, talented quarterback and you're not putting, people around them that can be productive at the NFL level because they've proven it before? Why do you want to go into the year with a bunch of young kids that no one has proven anything? I mean, other than Pop Douglas, who's made some catches, has Jalen Polk proved anything?
No.
Javon Baker?
No.
Right, so why would you want to start the season in that type of situation with your young, we think, superstar quarterback?
I mean, Baker has proven that he can't handle the food or whatever in London.
Yeah.
But other than that,
And Pop Douglas has showed us he can't catch a cold.
yeah.
I mean, literally, he tells us he has the best hands in the league, but how many drops has he had? So mentally, he's got to get them screws tightened up top so he can stay focused.
This is Jeff from New Hampshire. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Just to think about Steph Diggs real quick. I have no idea what the Patriots are doing. Just last week or a couple of days ago, they said that Drake, they didn't want to bring in one of these other receivers because they didn't think Drake May, they didn't want to hurt his psyche by bringing in a receiver who wants the ball.
They didn't want to. The way Tommy Curran put it was they only wanted Josh McDaniels' voice in his ears in the huddle. So they're worried about a wide receiver who's going to be demanding the football, basically.
And now you're going to bring in Steph Diggs, who's one of the biggest divas in the game. Which this team is. Listen, anything's better than what they have, but this team is they haven't. They're still doing the same stuff they've been doing for the last 5 years. It's very confusing. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand what is going on with at other positions with players who everybody assumes you have to be in on,
right?
And then you're not in on them, like Cam Robinson, for instance, Scheim.
Yeah, that was a nothing burger too.
I mean, you were back and forth a little bit. You were telling me he's nothing special. However, I heard you on Saturday saying that you ought to go out and sign the guy.
He's the best of what's available. It's at this point it's a crap pile, but he was the best of what was existing in said crap pile. Now it's like, all right, what are we going to do next? Like, there's not a whole lot of guys left that you can sign to play left tackle, which means you now either need to draft one or I don't know.
Moses is going to have to play there. You could have got him for what was it? 1 year, $12 million.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was
nothing.
It was like nothing. You didn't have to pay him, and
you still have $90 million left when it comes to the cap.
Stop talking about it. I'm going to get high.
Yeah, I don't really know, because even if you don't think Cam Robinson is like the savior, right? You should be looking at it like, well, you only needed him for 1 year and then you see what the market has for next year and you see the direction you want to go in. You could have signed him for 1 year, $12 million. You could have the kid Moses play right tackle. You signed the center. You have Michael Onwenu, and then you figure out who your left guard is. So your offensive line looks much better than last year because at least you have 4 guys solidified that you know you're going to play them at those specific positions.
But Wings, the frustrating part, I think, for many of us, Greg, is that the actions don't meet the words. Robert Kraft tells everybody how painful it's been the last 5 years. He said how painful it was in 2021 that they hadn't won a playoff game in 3 years. And he said, this is unacceptable, it's on me, chapter and verse about how they need to start winning until it actually comes down to the time to spend for talent that will help you win. And nobody understands better than Vrabel and Wiggy that even with the GOAT, early on, you had a remarkable supporting cast that elevated him, whether it was Vrabel on defense or Wiggy on offense and Tyler and Teddy Bruschi and, up and down the Troy Brown and Matt Light and Richard Seymour, all those guys. This team has totally capitulated on one side of the ball that happens to be by far and away the most important, which is offense.
But I can't blame Kraft because...
Oh, come on, Wiggy.
So, okay, so...
What are they saving the money for?
But why... you spent money on defense.
Is there a plan to add new wood chips to the hill behind the stadium?
You spent money on defense.
Well, with those tariffs, they're expensive.
Right?
I mean,
so why are you giving Kraft credit for spending money on defense?
Well, because I think Mike Vrabel insisted. Okay. So you're saying we got to hold Mike Vrabel accountable.
You got to hold Vrabel accountable,
now
right?
We're back to the argument about who was cheap. Was Robert Kraft cheap, or was Bill Belichick cheap, or maybe it's just the organization?
But if you're willing
maybe it's everybody in the organization is cheap. I don't know.
But if you're willing to give like Milton Williams a ton of money, they just signed another linebacker that played with Vrabel in Tennessee. If you're signing guys on the defensive side of the ball, which we all believe this Vrabel is pushing that narrative.
Yeah.
Why are we not saying, Mike, what are you doing on offense?
Well, maybe there's a plan, and that plan involves what the whispers are suggesting, and that is that you're drafting Travis Hunter at number 4, and he is going to play 90% of the snaps on the offensive side of the football. I mean, maybe that's what the plan is.
But Wiggy, how can Robert Kraft, if what you're saying is true, and it may be, obviously, I don't know, I wasn't in the room, how can he, after all that's happened and transpired the last several years, not knock on the door and say, Mike, how about a tackle? How about some receivers? Not saying this is who you should sign.
Right.
But there's no way that Robert Kraft can sit idly by as another offseason goes by where you do nothing to support your quarterback.
You can't say, all right, Robert Kraft's not doing nothing, but yet Mike Vrabel's going up to his office and saying, all right, we're giving Milton Williams $100 million. And he goes, okay, we're giving, Landry, what it was at $45-50 million. Okay. Then he goes up there and goes, all right, we want to give Cam Robinson $12 million. He goes, no.
But those two
don't add up.
Of course it can.
How's that add up?
Because if Robert Kraft says, okay, you can sign this defensive lineman,
right,
and Mike Vrabel doesn't say, hey, I want to sign X, you can say, what are we doing?
No. But if he's given Vrabel the ability to sign these guys on defense, you're making it seem like when Vrabel goes to him and says, hey, we want to get a couple of these guys on offense, he's going, no. They gave the center $20 million.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that if this team continues to ignore a side of the ball,
right,
even if he gave Vrabel the keys, it is still Kraft's team.
Right, but maybe they're saying, and I don't know, maybe Kraft's going, okay, what about this Cam Robinson guy? And they go, well, we don't think he's worth the $12 million.
So you're suggesting that Robert Kraft says you have whatever the number is, for this particular season, never mind the rest of the part of the deal,
right,
you have $60 million. Spend it however you want.
Right.
And Mike Vrabel is determining that he's going to spend it predominantly on guys who play defense.
Isn't that what it's looking like?
Maybe.
But then they're going after Godwin, and according to everybody, they had all this money there. He says no, and there's nobody else on offense.
But that's the other point. If you were willing to give Godwin all this money, Why wouldn't you then go, okay, hey, you know what? Robert, we weren't able to get Godwin at $30 million, a lot more per year. We're going to get Cooper Kupp at $15 million.
Because that's why I believe that was Kraft saying they were in on a guy they were never actually in on.
This is Nate in the truck. Good morning, Nate.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up?
Hey, Wiggy, do you realize what's going on, man? I mean, they got $130 million. They have to spend the money. Like,
right,
they have to get to a certain percentage.
Nate, listen to me.
No, wait, Wiggy. They weren't even in on Milton Williams until the last minute because they didn't get Godwin. So they had to get a big name. When you're in the top and you haven't spending that guaranteed money, because what were they again, Curtis? Oh yeah, 31st, 32nd for the past how many years?
Decade.
So they were forced to a point. They were forced this year to spend the money. So
Nate,
they had to get guys.
Nate, listen. They signed Milton Williams at the start of free agency before they even went after Chris Godwin.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they
Carolina
did.
almost had him.
Yeah, but
Carolina almost had him.
That was before they went after the Godwin. The Godwin reports came out after they had already. They signed.
A lot of these reports come out after they are unable to sign somebody. Have you ever noticed that?
But here's my point to Nate. It doesn't matter whether or not it was last minute, they were going in this direction. They were willing to sign guys on defense, and we've seen that, and they were willing to spend money. Why aren't they doing the same thing on offense? You can't say Kraft's okaying the defense and then not spending the money on the offense. That just don't make sense.
It's a great question, and we can talk about it all morning long on this show. Steph Diggs with a tour of Patriot Place yesterday. Hopefully they didn't give him the clam chowder because that was a problem a few years ago, if I remember correctly.
I actually saw him at the Hertz desk.